Update. Woman has come forward claiming she had a child with my late father to try and obtain a cut of his estate. Original post. Using an alt because this is just ridiculous. So here's the situation. My father passed about 2 months ago from natural causes and left everything he owned to me and my sister. His estate is worth over $5 million, with almost half of that in liquid assets. His estate is still being split up now, not because me and sis are fighting or anything. The two of us are just working together to see who wants what and figuring out what to do with the rest. But that isn't the issue here. About a week ago, a woman we'll call Stupid B, SB for short, contacted my father's estate attorney, claiming that she had a secret child with him and demanded he get a third of the estate. I have never met this woman, or even knew she existed until then, but apparently, she is the daughter of someone my dad went to high school with, so it isn't out of the question at first. But here's the thing. My dad was diagnosed with testicular cancer 15 years ago and had both his testicles removed. So unless this kid is at least 14, then it's impossible it's his. So, entertaining the thought, I met with SB and was surprised to find out this secret child is 9 years old and looks nothing like my father. During this meeting, she demanded her child's share of my dad's estate and wanted 9 years of child support in cash. She claimed she would sue if he wasn't added into the will. My dad's estate lawyer said that if SB's kid passed a DNA test, he would budge, but she refused. She claimed she has a secret letter from my father acknowledging this kid as his own, but refused to provide it. The meeting ended with my father's estate lawyer telling her to pretty much get out until she's ready to do a DNA test, and her claiming she would see us in court. It's pretty obvious this is not my dad's kid, but SB is still trying to take from us. My question is, what can I do to make her go away? What kind of legal action can I take to make her disappear from my life? If she does try to take action against me and my sister, what can I do to make sure this broad gets what she deserves? Now for the top comments before reading the update. She has the same rights to the court as anybody else, including the right to contest an estate with claims of paternity. You can't just make her go away because she's pissing you off. You're obviously taking this personally, which is not helping. The attorney for the estate is dealing with it, and you should let them and not interfere. It's getting annoying, as she is spamming me and my sister with texts claiming she is getting ready to sue us and that her son will get what he is owed. Despite this, the attorney has offered at least 4 times now to have a DNA test done, which she keeps refusing. So yeah, I'm pissed that this woman won't leave me alone, but I guess I'll just ignore her and let the estate handle it. Block her. Tell her one time to leave you alone, and if she doesn't, you will report the harassment to the police. My sis has blocked her, but I have not. I haven't responded to any of the texts, however. Let your lawyer handle it. Ask him to send her a letter telling her she is not to contact you at all, but only him when she is ready to take a DNA test. If she does contact you, he will deem it harassment and pursue your legal remedies. Then block her from contacting you. Attorney said just don't respond or tell her anything until she takes the DNA test or goes away. If she sues, the estate will take care of it. Listen to your lawyer. Do not engage SB and leave it to the lawyer to handle. She's trying to get you two to relent. The only response you should have for her is, please direct any future communication to our lawyer. Do not tell her anything else. Yeah, I just sent her a text telling her not to contact me and to refer to my lawyer if she wants anything. Now for the update. Seeing as the last post I made got popular, I thought I would come back and give an update. As much as I wish this ended dramatically with SB getting arrested or embarrassed in court, I'm sad to say this isn't the case. So after I sent SB the text telling her to stop contacting me, she began to blow my phone up with voicemails and texts. I saved them all obviously and forwarded them to my father's attorney. The day after I made my first post, my attorney had a letter sent to SB. Won't post the letter here, but I'll paraphrase to the best of my ability while trying to interpret all the legal talk. If you believe your child's claim to my client's estate is legitimate, please submit to a DNA test at your earliest convenience. If an independent DNA test confirms your claims of my client's paternity to your child, we will see to having him compensated, as according to local laws for the requested child support. On the claim of getting a portion of the estate, My client specified in his will that his estate would be left to his children, fake father 21 and sister. Unless you are able to provide the letter of recognition as you stated in my office on the 22nd, we will consider that your child was either disowned or unacknowledged by my client and will proceed as such. If you are unable to provide the claimed letter, I advise you seek legal counsel of your own. On the topic of your continued contact with my client's beneficiaries, I suggest you cease it immediately. They have made it clear that they do not wish to associate with you outside of legal dealings. If you continue to contact them, I have recommended they take legal action against you. The best part has to be how he ended it, however. If there is the possibility that your claims of my client's paternity to your child are misinformed or fraudulent, I suggest you admit to this and cease contact with me and my clients. If you continue these actions under false claims, not only will you be receiving a bill for my time, I will suggest that my clients take legal action against you. While this was going on, my sister tracked down SB's parents and got into contact with them. It turns out that SB has not had contact with her parents in multiple years, but that is not the important part. Apparently, this is not the first time she has done this. She pulled the same stunt with another man when this kid was born 9 years ago and got paid off to leave him alone. I also forwarded this to my attorney. So fast forward to this morning when I get a call from my attorney. SB is retracting her statements, claiming she misunderstood the situation and no longer believes her son is my father's kid. So yeah, no big dramatic ending sadly, but I guess this is over. Thanks for the advice originally. I know some people were asking why I came here when I already had an attorney, and to be honest, I see where you guys are coming from. I was pretty stressed, and with this woman trying to steal what my father had worked his whole life for, I really just needed a place to vent and look for advice on what I should do. Thanks for that. That's why you let the lawyers handle it, and I bet they had some fun crafting that response. My brother and sister-in-law are lawyers, and they live for moments when someone F's around and finds out. Apparently, she pulled the same stunt with another man when this kid was born 9 years ago and got paid off to leave him alone. WTF? Did that person not have the sense to demand a DNA test or other proof? She's gaming grieving people that have money. Not everyone is strong enough to keep fighting idiots when they are hurting. This woman cheated people once, and now thinks she can keep doing it. I hope OP and their lawyers wreck her for good. This makes me so mad. Scammers came out of the woodwork when my parents died. It was disgusting. This is on top of the legitimized scammers, like funeral home trying to convince the bereaved that they need a $10,000 coffin liner. Jesus. I thank my mother for handling all of that when my brother and sister passed, but even just pets. I lost my childhood dog last week, and the crematorium was charging me for viewing her one last time, for clippings of her fur. I told them they weren't allowed to pick her up until that afternoon. Then I just went back to the vet, saw her one last time there for as long as I wanted. I think I was in there for like an hour, and they presented her beautifully with a little rose between her paws and everything. The crematorium wanted to charge me double if I took over half an hour, and I got all the ear, tail, and belly fur clippings I wanted for free. Because shocker, she's my dog? That doesn't just end because she's dead. Scammers. She spent 16 years with me. They don't suddenly get ownership of her now that she's gone. What a wild business model to go with. Things that actually take effort, I understand charging me for. But freaking fur clippings? Seeing her one more time? Next story. Am I the a-hole for not pampering my husband after a blood draw? He definitely thinks so, and I'm too biased from my own experiences to be neutral. So here we are. This is not how he normally is day to day, but it is a recurring man-cold issue we have had in the past. Husband needed a blood draw today. He worked himself up all last night and this morning leading up to it. I know it can be scary and stressful. I know everyone reacts differently. I gave him grace and tried to be reassuring. But after so much complaining, I told him this morning he needs to cut it out. Because at that point, he was making it worse for himself, and he needed to focus on the positive. He should tell the nurse or whoever that he is nervous and doesn't like needles. He didn't handle watching my epidurals well and hasn't had his own blood drawn in a long time. Today was our kid's first day of school. We have 3. Each pregnancy got consecutively worse, where my youngest was considered high risk. So I got a lot of blood draws in those 27 months, and I fainted or almost fainted every single time. I know I have a vasovagal response. I understand the nervousness and fear that comes with needles and blood draws, but I still did them because they needed to be done, because I told myself I could do it. I told the staff so they were prepared to help me, and after they were done and I was revived and considered safe, I either drove myself back to work or home to continue on with my day teaching or taking care of the house and kids, because I had to and knew I had to keep trucking on because I am an adult. He said he thinks they took 2 vials, but he wasn't sure since he didn't look, that he was feeling perfectly fine, so he left right after. But 20 minutes into his car ride home, he was suddenly lightheaded, dizzy, and sweaty. He was able to pull over safely into a gas station. He had to sit there for a while until he felt well enough to go in to get some juice and crackers. He called me to stay on the phone the rest of the way home, since it wouldn't be safe to go back to work. He works with heavy machinery on a farm, didn't want him passing out or overexerting himself alone. I was glad he stayed safe and could rest. I had done school drop-off, cleaned the house, gotten groceries, went to the gym, picked up the youngest 2 to bring them to therapy, brought the middle back to school, then picked up lunch for the 3 of us, husband, youngest, and me, so we didn't have to cook. At this point, husband had slept in, gone to his appointment, come home and rested. He texted and called me constantly, saying all the lines of how he's dying and feels terrible. When I came home, I found him in the basement playing Xbox. When we were eating lunch, he was wandering around in a mopey, exaggerated way. It had been 4 hours since his blood draw, and while he still looked a bit pale, he was by no means on death's door. He wanted me to set out his food, to check his temperature, to open up his mail for him, to grab him water from the garage, all while I was trying to corral an overtired 3-year-old to eat and get ready for a nap. I said no to everything but the water and told him he was fine. After lunch and getting the youngest down, he's back in the basement. I needed to shower, and just as I was getting in, I heard her crying on the monitor in our bedroom. I texted him asking him to check on her or just come grab the monitor. He asked me to bring it down to him. I told him I was about to shower and didn't feel like wandering naked through the house half wet when he could do it himself. I heard him stomp up the stairs, and he came into the bathroom to give me a dirty look and a "really?" before disappearing back downstairs with the monitor. After my shower, I asked him what that was about. All he said was that I know he's feeling terrible, and it wouldn't have killed me to just bring him the monitor. I would have had to deal with her if I was home alone like normal, so what's the difference? I finally lost it and told him he's acting worse than our children. He's a grown man who got a little bit of blood drawn. He's not terminally ill, and I don't need to wait on him hand and foot because of one very common and simple medical procedure. I have enough stuff to do today, and I asked for help because he was home and was capable of helping out. He just thought I should kiss his feet, and he could lay around and get served by me. Now we're not talking to each other, and I know he thinks I should apologize, but I'm over this. I feel like he did it to himself, and I had to take the brunt of it with all the complaining and drama. Now for the comments. Today was our kids' first day of school. We have 3. I think you actually have 4. Not the a-hole. I was just going to say the exact same thing. Dude needs to grow up. He's acting like a toddler, not an adult. She's juggling way more than him. Bro, not the a-hole. He didn't take your epidural well. That's insane. Dude needs to get a grip on reality, drink some water, and be a dad. How old is he? Because he's acting like a damn child. Haha, we're in our 30s. My last epidural I passed out on. Woke up to being tossed around with 20 doctors and nurses in the room because my blood pressure tanked and they lost the baby's heartbeat. Found my husband laying on the couch eating a sandwich and juice with a towel on his head because he also almost passed out. Last story. Am I the a-hole for locking my stepdad out of the house in the rain? I 16 female, have a mother 45 female and father 46 male who share custody of me after their divorce 10 years ago. My mother remarried a year ago to her now husband, 40 male. I'm split 50-50 between both parents, and currently I'm staying with my mother. Now on to my mom's husband. At first he was really nice, always trying to be involved. He showed up for my volleyball competitions at school, asked about my day, and gave me small gifts. However, over the past few months, he has become much weirder. He maintains hugs for too long. His hand rests really low on my back, and when I tried pulling away one time, he just tightened his grip and said I was being shy. Bear in mind, he's much taller and bigger than me. There have also been multiple times where he walks into my room without knocking when I'm in a towel, but it only happens then and never any other time. Whenever I raise a concern to my mother, she insists I'm exaggerating. Sometimes she talks to him and he backs off for a while, but then he does this thing where he talks badly about himself when I'm near, and then overcompensates for making me upset by giving me my favorite sweets, chocolate or ice cream. A few days ago, I was home alone with my mom's husband, and I was letting my dog out into the garden for a minute. It was raining heavily, by the way, when he came up behind me and hugged me. This, of course, made me uncomfortable, and I kind of pushed him off me with my elbow. He didn't fall or anything, just stumbled. From that point, I walked back inside, slammed the garden door shut, locked it, and went into my room upstairs, with my dog, of course. When my mom got home around 30 minutes to an hour later, she heard him shouting from outside and let him back in. He obviously told her what I did. He was soaked from the rain and really mad at me, and so was my mother. He now has a really bad cold and has been sick since that day. They both blame me and constantly lecture me every day, which makes me feel terrible since it wasn't my intention to make him sick. I just acted out of irritation. He technically didn't really do anything, so I'm second-guessing myself. I talked to my dad about everything that's been happening. He's mad I didn't tell him sooner how I've felt around my mom's husband, so he's coming to pick me up soon so I can stay with him after arguing with my mother for hours on the phone. I'm so sorry for this really long post. I think I was ranting a lot. So, am I the a-hole for locking my stepdad out of the house and getting him really sick? Who cares if he's sick? Your stepfather is trying to hit up on you, and your mom is so desperate for a warm body to lay next to that she's allowing it. Go live with your dad. This will only escalate. You are not overreacting. You are not imagining stuff. He is just as creepy and weird as you think he is. And as a mom, I'm so disappointed in your mom. She is supposed to protect you. Oh, he's sick, all right, and nothing to do with his sniffles. Your dad should get full custody, and at your age, judges usually agree with a request from you. Too bad your mom isn't protecting you, but you need to protect yourself and stay away from the creepy dude. Also, it might be a good idea to look for cameras in your bedroom and bathroom at your mom's. Kind of goes hand in hand with the attempted grooming and weird advances. Update. My dad abandoned me when I was 2 and now wants to meet me. I ended up living in 6 foster homes and faced a lot of abuse after my mom OD'd. Does it make me a horrible person to meet him just to tell him how I grew up? Original post. My mom overdosed when I was 4. I was used to her passing out for periods of time, so I just made toast and watched cartoons at first. But on the 3rd day I got bored and went to play at the playground. Someone became concerned, and next thing you know, they're taking her away and I'm going to stay with some nice people. Well, none of those people were very nice. I could go into details, but let's just say that I was removed from the first few due to abuse. And by the time I was put in a decent home, I wasn't a nice little kid people wanted to adopt anymore. I was too old and an a-hole who hated them because I knew in little kid logic that even though they had red bunk beds and gave me ice cream after dinner, soon they would be like the rest. I eventually ran away when I was 16. My foster dad got mad at me for going in the fridge without asking, and next thing I know, I'm packing my bags because I figured someone would pay me to do crappy work and wouldn't treat me like trash. I'm 24 now and my bio dad friended me on Facebook. We have the same name and he sent me a long message about how he's gotten older now and thinks I should meet my siblings, etc. I hate him. Maybe I shouldn't, but he left me with a heroin addict and went on about his life. He has a family now? Well, cool. I never had one. Not until I grew up and started my own. I honestly think that letting him know I don't want to be his buddy or his son or whatever he thinks he needs would make me feel better. I could stop hating him and resenting him, unload it on him and just move on. I also want to let him know that I lived in an apartment with my dead mom for 3 days, and we didn't have anyone who cared about us enough to come by. I want to show him the burns I have on my arm. I want to let him know that I hid from one of my foster dads every night under my bed and prayed to a God I no longer believe in that he would just leave me alone. I want him to know that I never had real birthdays or Christmases, that I wasn't allowed to go in the fridge in most of those places, and in extreme cases, I wasn't even allowed to leave my room unsupervised. Would this be petty and horrible? Should I just ignore him? Now for the top comments before reading the update. No, dude, unload on the guy. Give it to him like you just described. He needs to know, and you need to unload. He had 2 decades to come get you, and now that you've grown up, it's too late. You don't need him. You don't need to see him ever. But it will do you so much good just to tell him what he did to you by leaving. Let go of the hate and resentment, and yell and scream and kick over chairs. Also, good job on getting your life together. You should be super proud of yourself. The odds are he left because she was a bee, she wanted the kid, and he might have never known how bad she got, or that the OP was in foster care. All he knows is up to the point of leaving. He may have no details after he left. By all means, tell him everything since he did make contact, but the OP isn't going to gain much. Maybe he will apologize for not knowing, but he cannot apologize for what the mom did. I don't think it would be good for either one to have a relationship at this point. They called him to see if he had any interest when my mom died. He didn't, and neither did any of his family. He then signed away any rights he had. And what did my mom do? Yes, she OD'd. But she tried. She fed and clothed me and loved me. She was addicted to a drug and it was a horrible thing, but she loved her son. He walked away, and 22 years later, decided to see how life treated me. As a foster mom, first I want to say I am sorry. I hate hearing that kids get placed in situations just as crappy, and sometimes far worse, than where they are removed from when they should be placed someplace better. Foster care is supposed to provide a place for kids to feel safe and loved, sometimes for the first time ever, and allow for parents to hopefully get their life together so the kids can go home. And if they cannot, well then they are supposed to provide the kids an opportunity to be adopted. As for telling your father what happened to you and how you grew up, think about it first. Are you wanting to tell him so you can unload and feel better? Are you wanting to tell him because you hope it will make him feel bad? Maybe get an apology? If it's the first reason, I say go for it. You need to do what makes you feel better. And if unloading, and maybe even telling him off, he could have found you sooner, especially if he straightened his butt out years ago, he could have. If you're looking to make him feel guilty or get an apology, be prepared for him to not do either. I am not saying he won't, but it's a possibility, and you may feel worse in the long run. That is not what you need, want, or deserve. Just be careful is all I am saying. And if you need to talk, message me. I know there are good places. I stayed in contact with my social worker and she cried when we met up once and said that I was her worst case. Because I was such a sweet, adoptable little boy, and I got the worst of the lot. And by the time she found a good placement, I was too scared for it to be a good place. Thanks for being a good foster mom. You're welcome. It sounds like you wound up with a pretty good head on your shoulders. Be proud of yourself, because it seems like you accomplished that all on your own. Now for the update. I wrote a message. Is this okay to send? I decided I don't want to come off as bitter or angry, but I don't want him to still have hope of some kind of Hallmark movie ending either. Dear Jack, I am 24 years old. I am not the little boy who cried when you left. I am a man, with a son and daughter of my own. I've never spent more than a weekend away from them. I am a father and a damned good one. I don't need you anymore. Once I needed you. When my mom died, I really could have used a dad. I could have used anybody. When she died, there wasn't even anybody there. No one cared about us. I spent 3 days in that apartment, eating toast and just waiting for her to wake up. And then they called you, because you were my dad. You were 23, young, but not so young really. If you had come and gotten me, you would have had a son. I would have loved you forever. But you didn't. So I went to a bunch of people who didn't love me, but liked the check they got with me. It didn't make them treat me well. I have burn marks on my arm, and I still can't spend time in closed-in dark spaces after being shut in closets. An afternoon is a long time when you can't count. I didn't count on anybody. I used to pray, the way Mom did with me when I was little. But after praying for someone to come and rescue me long enough, hiding under my bed, and praying that my foster dad wouldn't come in and would leave me alone for just one night, I stopped believing in most things. I lived in 7 different homes, from 4 to 16, and even the decent ones, I was never family. I didn't have real birthdays or Christmases. I wasn't allowed to go in the fridge and just get food when I was hungry. When I was 16, me and my foster dad got in a fight over a ham sandwich. Boy, what are you doing in our things? And so I left, 16 with nobody to call and $40. I just walked away with a backpack. Anything could have happened to me. But I made it. I'm a man now, and I don't need you. I don't want you to feel bad. I just want you to know why I can't be your son. I'm 24 and have never been anyone's son. I don't know how, and I just don't have it in me. Jackson. Send him that letter. He needs to know that he failed. He already knows, but I'm up for shaming bad parents any day of the week. Non-parents. Bad parents at least try. Send that. Show him what he did to you. He really messed things up with you. But do you want to meet him just to see what he is like? Honestly, no. I only feel disgust and anger when I think about him. I'm sure he's not the devil incarnate. It seems like he has a stable job and a wife who tags him in posts and 3 kids, who are closer in age to my kids than me, who he is probably a decent dad to. But all of these nice things he may be, he never was to me. Next story. My abusive father wants to reconcile with my sister because she's pregnant, and he wants to be a part of the child's life. Am I the a-hole because I won't let him go near her? I'm 20 years old. I guess I'll start by saying my father abused me and my 4 siblings verbally, mentally, and physically. For as long as I can remember, I've been the oldest son, but I have a sister who is 23. Let's call her Mary. Mary was the only one who got out of the family after my father threw her out at 20 because she didn't give my father enough money. Her salary was $1,200 a month. She put $1,000 on the table every month. Now that she's moved out, she's cut off contact with my father. But since my father found out from one of my aunts that my sister was pregnant, he's trying to make up with her. And since I am the only one who keeps in touch with my sister, he's trying to make up with her through me. But I immediately told my sister that my father wants to make up with her. My sister asked me to keep my father away from her because she doesn't want her child to be a part of his life. That same day, I sat down to talk to my father and told him that my sister doesn't want to make up and that he should respect that. My father started to put my sister down for everything. He said that my sister was an ungrateful bee and that she didn't decide, that he had rights as a grandparent. Then I lost my cool and told him what I wanted. I started to yell at him that I wouldn't let my godchild have the same childhood as us and that if my sister wasn't pregnant, he wouldn't care if she was dead, because my father didn't even ask about her for 3 years, even though he knew that I was in contact with her and that we talked every day. And now the whole close family is blaming me because I wouldn't let my father near my sister. And they say that I'm a heartless animal because supposedly my father has changed. But this is only partly true because he doesn't hit our little siblings. But he still has anger issues, and he breaks and crushes the furniture in the house when he's upset. So, am I the a-hole for not wanting to make peace between them and for respecting my sister's request? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister herself said she didn't want to reconcile with your father, period. She made her decision, and no one can object to it. Also, the way your father reacted by immediately starting to insult your sister shows that he hasn't changed a bit. Your sister deserves a medal for sticking to her guns. If Dad's reaction was a roast, then he's clearly still in the kitchen of denial. You deserve a medal to OP for protecting your sister. Keep doing that. Your family's wrong. You aren't heartless at all. You're compassionate and doing the right thing. Why are you still in contact with your a-hole dad? I don't want to leave my siblings with him. He has mental problems. My youngest brother is 15. My middle brother is 16. The oldest is about to turn 18. Our mother died when I was 16. There's no one to protect them if my father loses his mind and beats them, so I still live at home. And that's how it goes until all my siblings are 18. Then I'll find a place to live and we'll move in together. I'm proud of you for protecting your younger siblings. I hope they recognize this and remember it in the years to come as well. They know I'm here for them. They love me and they love our sister too. They're really looking forward to the baby, even though they've remained neutral in this family drama because I told them to. They say I'm a better father figure to them than our real father. He doesn't hit our little siblings. Yet. I'm a 6'4" manual laborer who lifts things twice my father's weight every day. He knows if he hits any of my siblings, I'd send him to the hospital immediately. Last story. My aunt and cousin have bullied me my entire life. I told them the truth will eventually come out. They then dared me to post the truth on social media, claiming no one would ever believe me or care. So I did. I don't think they expected the reaction I got. I have an aunt and cousin who have always hated me and aren't afraid to show it. I always attempted to kill them with kindness because I knew the truth would come out someday. Well, the truth came out when they dared me to post the truth on social media. So I did. I got so much support that the post spread like crazy. Here are a few things I called them out on. 1. I took off work and spent $500 to fly to my cousin's wedding. When I showed up, I realized I was the only family member who didn't get a seat at the family table at the reception. Yes, I RSVP'd. So I spent the entire night sitting alone as people walked by me asking why I wasn't sitting with my brother, his wife, and my parents. 2. I adopted my daughter from foster care. I asked them why they aren't nice to her. They said because it's weird for me to bring a stranger to family events. Seriously? Don't attack my daughter for being adopted. She's been through enough. 3. They accused me of not raising my daughter because my mom watches her when I'm at work. My mom gets paid by my daughter's insurance to watch her due to the severity of her special needs. If it wasn't my mom, my daughter's grandma, watching her, then it would be a random staff member watching her while I'm at work. I asked how that differs from having a babysitter. They said, because your daughter is older and shouldn't need a babysitter. Again, my daughter has special needs, and trained staff have to watch her. And I need to have a job. I'm sorry that my mom is willing to watch her granddaughter and my aunt is not willing to watch hers. 4. They told me to stop posting photos of my daughter on Facebook. I asked why they're allowed to post photos of their kids, but I'm not. They said it's because moms are allowed to post photos of their own kids. Again, they don't consider my daughter my kid because she's adopted. 5. They said I adopted my daughter all for show, which is absolute BS. I fostered her before adopting her, and very few people knew because I wasn't allowed to talk about her case. So there was no show there. Not to mention, I'm a single mom who sacrificed a lot to adopt my daughter, and it is not an easy life. Anyone who has adopted from foster care or has a special needs child knows it's hard and certainly not worth the show. Am I the a-hole for publicly putting them on blast after they dared me to? I don't think they expected me to actually do it. I definitely know they didn't expect the abundance of support I would get as people in my small town shared the post. Oops. Good heavens, not the a-hole. They are not healthy for you or your child. No, they are not. I tried to remain civil on behalf of my grandma because seeing a family divide would upset her, but they took it too far when they started attacking my child. So what was their response after you blasted them on social media? Are they being shamed as a result? I really hope so. Not the a-hole. They told me to remove it or they'd sue me. I didn't. Still waiting on that lawsuit. Sounds like they just experienced FAFO. They sure did. They basically said FAFO with a threat of a lawsuit. I told them I'll be patiently waiting for that court order. It's been 3 weeks. Isn't it only defamation if it's not true? If you can prove it, they have no case. That's why they haven't acted on it. They know it's all true and don't have a leg to stand on. Not the a-hole. I love it when crappy people fool around and find out they got their comeuppance. What's even worse about all of it is they actually don't deny saying or doing any of this. They always try to justify it and victimize themselves. And when they run out of reasonable justification, they say they have a constitutional right not to like me. That's true, so I guess I'll exercise my constitutional rights to LOL.